Okay. So, there is a phenomenon amongst people who work swing shifts or night shifts or really, really long shifts in general, where I can speak in particular to those people who work night shift. If you work 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., you leave work at 7 a.m., you're tired. You get in your car and you start driving home. You get home and you sit there and you think to yourself, man, I don't know how I got home. How can I say that? I've worked night shift before. Years ago, I used to work night shift, and I remember the very first time it happened to me. It is the scariest thing in the world because you're like, wait, I got here. I'm okay. I'm in one piece. I'm pretty sure I stopped at all the stoplights, stop signs. Like, I'm good, but I don't remember it. It's because driving your car is so you do it so often and so repetitively that it becomes a subconscious action type deal. So the more repetitive the motion, the deeper it lays in the brain. It's almost like laying bricks. You keep doing it over and over again, like your brain just remembers it. And these little grooves that I was telling you about earlier, they get deeper and deeper. The more you do something, the more you say something, the more you react to something, like that memory circuit gets deeper and deeper. So you might not realize it, but when you get in your car, you hold your steering wheel the same way every time. When you drive home, unless there is something in the road and you have to make a sudden swerving motion, or they're doing construction and you just have to take your arm in another direction, you pretty much put your hands on the steering wheel in the exact same place. The degrees at which you flex and extend your elbow and your shoulder and move your arms are the exact same, because you're not going to need to move your arm 30 degrees one day to turn into your driveway and then 90 degrees another day. No, it's always the same. So you do it so often you don't think about it, but your brain knows. So if you're sleepy, you're driving home, not saying to do this, because there is a difference between subconscious driving and conscious driving. Subconscious driving will get you close if there's no obstacles in the way and your conscious brain is somewhat functioning. But if you're doing all subconscious stuff, you could possibly hit something, run a light, run a stop sign, fall asleep, and then, of course, all control is lost at that point. Conscious driving is where you're like, okay, that light is green. It's been green for a long time. It's probably going to turn yellow. So I should probably either speed up to make the light or slow down, because I'm probably not going to make the light even if I did speed up. That is problem solving, thinking, planning. All that is happening here in the frontal lobe. Now, with your trading, when you're sitting there and you're thinking about executing, if you have not done it enough, your hand that you use for your mouse is not going to have that muscle memory to know how to click, where to click, what to click. There is a hand-eye coordination that goes with that. So when you hear people say practice makes perfect, repetitive motion, either watch it again, read it again, do it again, there is something to that. And there's a lot to it, because it will become so familiar to your brain that your brain will start to go through the motions before you've even consciously thought about going through the motions. And so, how is that so? Um, right now I'm talking to you, I'm making very coherent sentences. But if I said tomorrow's Thanksgiving, I 100% can tell you right now that everybody on this call, 300 milliseconds after I said that, you were like, wait, no, it's not. Actually, let me go back. 400 milliseconds after I said that, you'd be like, what? No, it's not. 300 milliseconds after I said it, your brain would have registered that I said something wrong. If I say, I really love to walk my dog in the ocean, 300 milliseconds after I said that, your brain would have registered that I said something wrong. Your brain picks up things very, very quickly. and we can measure these things, we can look at these things, and it's a phenomenon that happens because your brain knows what's supposed to happen, but something out of the norm happened. And so now that's that kind of feeling that you get, like that's not right. Your brain is like telling you like, no, that's not right. That gut feeling that you get in your stomach is also that same signal, just going in a different direction. That's like something's not right. Um, because most people, if it's not the mental thought that, hey, something's wrong, it's a gut feeling. The gut feeling is literally your brain sending a signal down the brain stem to the 10th cranial nerve that runs all the way down to your stomach. And it will give you that like unsettled, stomach flipping, butterfly type feeling to say, hey, look, something's not right here. I don't know, but I need for you to pay attention to what's going on. Or whatever you just thought about, I need for you to like revisit that again. All of those things you experience with your trading. If you overtrade, or let's say if your risk management is out of place, you're going to have that gut feeling that, oh my gosh, what if the market doesn't go my way? Oh my gosh, wait, the market, okay, hold on. Like I put a standard lot on this trade if you're trading Forex, and I really should have put a micro lot, but oh my gosh, I really need to make this money so that I can pay my bills. First of all, you're eliciting a stress response, which we talked about Monday, which is horrible. Now your body is not going to respond in a rational manner because you're being emotional. Stress is an emotion. So now your rational thinking is taking a back seat to the emotion because now you're in fight or flight mode and your body is like panicking. So essentially now that pitting feeling that you have in your stomach is just now causing your body to go into overdrive with stress. So you're going to sit there and stress that trade. Even after you close that trade out, that stress response in your body is going to last for at least 6 to 24 hours. So while you might be out drinking, your body's still trying to recover from what you did earlier in the day, even if you won the trade. So in the brain, that hold on, let me see if no. I'm gonna look for one really quick while I'm talking. I need a picture. So while you are celebrating a win, your brain at the same time is still feeling that regret. It's still feeling that in the background. Most people don't know it. It's something that is not really taught, especially for the average retail trader, because your reward center and the center for your brain that signals to you regret, um, yeah, it's literally in the same spot. So this picture, hopefully you guys are seeing a picture of like a cross section of the brain, what I was just showing you, but like in the middle. So this part of the brain right here, and the only reason why I'm actually showing you is because I want you to be able to have something tangible to know. So when you're thinking about your own brain, you can kind of say like, okay, if I touch my forehead or if I touch the side of my head, like these are the areas of the brain, like where these actions are going on. And you can kind of rationally think about what's going on. But this part of the brain is fascinating. It controls both regret and reward and punishment. So while you're celebrating, this part of your brain is working, not only because it's happy that you um, completed a successful trade, but there's also some regret because you know you didn't do it the right way. You should have done it the right way. It's even more active when, let's say, you set a goal of 100 pips, but you closed out a trade early and you took 60 pips. that part of your brain is so active, like to the point where it's almost overactive because yes, you're happy that you got 60 pips out of that trade. But at the same time, you're upset because your goal was 100 pips and you were supposed to get to 100 pips. So that area is going to signal regret. You're going to have a deep pitting feeling of, man, I shouldn't have closed out that trade. My goal was 100 pips, especially if the trade runs and hits 100 pips. So what you're now going to do is revenge trade. That is the area of the brain where it becomes so overstimulated to the point where you feel like the feeling of regret is going to take over the reward. So you feel like now you have to get back into another trade to make up the 40 pips that you didn't get in the previous trade and try to get those back. However, this is emotional center. This part of the brain isn't working out right now because this is taking up all of your mental capacity. So when people are like, I don't need sugar, sugar's bad, your brain lives on sugar. So there is some sugar, healthy sugar, sugars that you do need because it's brain food. This part of the brain will be eating up all of your reserves, all your reserves of sugar. This part of the brain isn't going to be getting as much of that. So emotional center, because it's right here at the brain stem, all the nutrients coming up into the brain through this area, all of it's going here. Not in a literal sense that it's all going there, but like your neurons are firing to the point where they're taking up a lot of energy. There's not a lot of logical processing that's going on there. So when I say that it's not really getting as much, it's just because the neurons aren't firing as much. If you're sitting on the couch all day, you're not using a lot of energy. But if you're getting up and you're walking back and forth and you're up and down the stairs, you're using up a lot of energy. So hopefully that analogy um helps you to understand what I'm trying to get at there. Um so um I'm just going to pull this up really quick because we kind of talked about this the last time and I'm not going to stay on this way or a long time, sorry. Um so last time we talked about not doing drugs, drinking, smoking, those types of behaviors or things before you actually trade. And it's because that same reward center that I was just telling you about has all of these little receptors. So think of it like Velcro. You have like the soft side, like soft fuzzy side, and then you have like the prickly side. And you can imagine these receptors being like that hard, prickly side. And then you have all these neurotransmitters, which are chemicals that signal something to happen: sleep, happiness, um, feeling sad, feeling happy, like feeling mellow, those types of things. There are chemicals for all of those. And so, um, whenever you're trading, you don't want to do those things because you can falsely elicit some of these chemicals that float through the brain to travel to one area more so than another, which that is actually possible, as opposed to the last example I gave. Or you could have those chemicals bind to an area. So THC, cocaine, nicotine, well, essentially all of these that are listed here on the left, they have some type of end or side to their receptor. So think of a puzzle. One side of the puzzle piece has to fit and meet another puzzle piece. Um, these chemicals or these drugs can falsely mimic the end of a puzzle piece that's supposed to match another one. So you have a drug sitting there or a molecule of a drug or a chemical just sitting there as opposed to what your body naturally produces. So then that can go away and now you're left with this weird response in the middle of your trading day while you're trying to plan your trading day. or at the end of your trading day. So that can lead to compulsive behavior, which compulsive behavior is, um, in trading terms, if you read one of those papers that I sent out, it's either um, you feeling like you need to risk more, you need to trade more, you need to trade outside of what you set for your guidelines for your trading. It could lead to you listening to someone else and just impulsively doing what they do because they made money without rationally thinking about it. So while this is talking about um, drug abuse, these technically it's about addiction. But addiction has many applications in the brain, and in real world applications. So um, this same process is happening regardless of whether it's drugs, whether it's gambling, whether it's name another addiction, even food addictions. This happens because while it's not cocaine or amphetamines or opiates, it's food. Food is causing this rush of dopamine because it just makes a person so happy to eat. But it's a catch 22 because while you need nutrients, you don't need as many as you're signaling to your body that you need. So that's why, not trying to tell anyone how to parent their kids, but it's not great to give food as a reward, because when you give food as a reward, it's releasing dopamine, and that kid is so happy to get candy, donuts, cookies, that every time they get it, it's like a rush of dopamine for them on top of the sugar. So sometimes it's not that your kid is just hyper. They got two chemicals floating through their system right now that's like making them bounce off the walls. One of them you gave and the other one they made. Anyway, whatever. I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now. I'm gonna leave that at that. Because I feel like a lot of what we're going to continue to talk about with trading really goes in deep to the heart of what really makes people tick. Um, the whole language aspect, I will pull this up really quick. The whole language aspect of this is going to be really important because we did it a long, long, long time ago, and I may do it again, where I actually pull up the Forex Factory calendar and we go through the top red foldered events and literally talk about what they are, why they are the way they are, when do they come out, what does the information mean, because that stress response that I talked about on Monday should not happen when you hear this news. You should hear jobs were great, jobs were bad, and just be like, okay, because it shouldn't matter. So while, yes, let me go back. In the grand scheme of things, for the economy, yes, it matters. For your trading, who cares? If it goes up, great. That means that, we created more jobs, there's more opportunity, economy's growing, there's expansion going on. Companies are willing to hire now. They don't feel like financial conditions are that bad. If jobs are being have decreased in the job numbers, that could mean that a seasonal period is over. It could mean that financial conditions aren't that great. It could mean that companies are consolidating. It could mean that people don't like job conditions. That kind of happened during COVID. It can mean a lot of things, but in the grand scheme of the market, the only thing they see is more jobs, fewer jobs, market expansion, possible market contraction, and what the implications are for that in the marketplace. If there are more jobs, people can spend more money. People can, get hired, spend money, or make money to spend money. And less jobs, people don't have a job, so people can't buy, can't take out loans, can't help to fuel the economy as in previous times. So anyway, those are like the things you need to know when it comes to these items. It's not so much like digging so deep. You can, but you should know the financial items or the economic items on the calendar enough to know what they mean so that the media can't pseudo scare you, or cause stress, as we talked about, um, in your trading. And then you should know them enough so that, when you do hear these numbers, if you solely want to trade something more long term based off of it, you can. But so it doesn't scare you. That's the biggest thing. When it comes to this language area here in the brain, when there's something that's unknown that's coming in and your brain can't comprehend it, or it doesn't know the sounds of what's being said or the language that is being said in, you get scared. And not so much that it's a fearful scare, but it's a stressful scare because now you're on edge. You don't know. So you feel like now you have to do a little bit more work. Try watching an ICT video if you haven't, and watch one for the first time and see how much you know. And then watch it again and realize how many things get repeated. And then write down a column of things you understood, things you didn't understand, and see how many videos you have to watch to get to the stuff that you didn't understand. Like sometimes information is just that way, but if you're willing to at least take the stress out of your trading and the stress out of your day, that's going to be so much better for you. And I'll say this and I'm done. Stress, I told you guys Monday, I don't tell you guys what to do and how to live your life, but stress and how you say things to yourself, because that language center in your brain signals to that part of the brain that I was showing you in that cross section. There's a response relay that happens there. Don't allow things in your environment to scare you or stress you to the point where you aren't able to make a clear decision. In your trading, if you're not sure about a trade, you have to be comfortable with telling yourself that you don't know and that there is another trade. Like there's always another trade. You have to know that and you have to remember that, because otherwise you will overtrade. If you set a pip goal and you don't hit that pip goal in one trade, go back to your trading plan. What does it say if you close out a trade too early? Do you get back in, or do you just be happy with what you got because you made money that day? You have to have it written down, clear cut, because when you're emotional, that's rational. You wrote that in a rational state, and it's something in black and white that you can go back to and say, look, I said that even if I made money, but I didn't hit my pip goal, I was going to be done for the day. Shut it down, turn it off, walk away. And if it takes you 2 or 3 times to get it right, whatever it takes, but get it right, because that stress is causing more internal havoc on your body than you realize. Cortisol, the stress hormone that does get released from those things called the adrenal glands that sit on top of your kidneys, it does way more damage than people think. That increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, the dilation of your arteries, that causes cardiovascular disease. That causes your organs to get stressed out and the blood vessels within your organs to get stressed out to the point where sometimes they don't function anymore. And people end up with kidney disease, liver disease, heart disease, needing to do what I had someone today tell me, like, they did a case, had to cut someone's neck open to take plaque out so that the plaque wouldn't break off and go to their brain. But why do you end up with plaque? Stress, because stress causes your body to retain fat. That stuff ends up circulating in your bloodstream for a really long time until it just settles in your arteries or around your organs. Or you eat a really bad diet. So you also have to feed your body right too. Anyway, I'm done.
Saucy. Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about right there. Yeah, that's the sauce. That's the sauce. Um, cool beans. Cool beans. We appreciate you, Corman. Unicorn, as always, coming through. I can't wait for Friday night. See what you got for us. And yeah, I'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. And then I take any questions from the class once I end the call. So yeah, I appreciate everybody coming out tonight, tuning in, getting this knowledge and empowering yourselves. Let your family and friends know you love them while they still here, please. And as always, peace and love, everybody. You know